Okay, starting here, we've got some large angle rims. They appear to be about 16 inches long. It's a half-inch angle by 4. Some large radius bits of channel here as well, and some various box tubing. Over here in this box we have a bunch of these piston heads, and I believe we've got 12 on the bottom, additional 5 on top for 17 of those. On this pile we have some 1.5-inch tubing rims. They appear to be about 3 feet long each. A piece of I-beam, some different box tubing down here, and a couple odds and ends. We pan to the right. Looks like we've got a couple of bases for some sort of a structure. So it's a flange base. Some cutouts here. Some additional tubing. Appears to be maybe 1.5 inches as well. Some box tubing there. Some hexagonal solid round stock in there as well. So we pan to the right here. We've got a couple of these skeletons from the laser cutters. Okay. There's also some bits of chain in here. Probably 12 to 15 feet of that between that pile and this right here. We've got a wheel, what appears to be a brush off, possibly a street sweeper. A number of these preformed 14-inch square of number 4 rebar, and there's approximately 30 of those. We've got some more in this pile here. Just some oddly bent 3/16 mild steel wire there. A number of these flat bars that appear to be maybe 5/16 by 1.5 inch by at least 4 feet long, maybe 5, and there's possibly 20 of those. If we head over here, we've got some short, maybe 12-inch by 3 by 3/16 angle rims, and there's a number of those in there. There's quite a few of those. Some really small flat bar, 1/8 by 4 flat bar. This is all real good, clean steel. On this pile, even a couple of little baby I-beams here. I don't think I've ever seen one that small. And heading over to here, take a shot down inside this bucket. This is just a bucket full of punch slugs of various sizes. They all appear to be just mild steel, just different punch sizes in there, and even a couple flat bar rims. We've got some larger circle cutouts here, just some drops off of a plasma table. There's a 1/2 bucket full of those guys there. Some short, larger pieces of pipe. And some 3/4 radius shapes here. Looks to be about maybe 12 to 15 of those as well. On the back here, we've got some really good stuff. These are all preformed. 3/4 or 1-inch tubing, 3/4 inch tubing. And it looks to be about 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 of those. A number of just different size brackets. These guys were all, they appear to be laser cut. Just some different odd shapes in here as well, and some radius pieces. I imagine you could put those all together and even make a complete circle. On the back this year, we definitely have a lot of these skeletons, various thickness, shapes. This guy back here is about 3/4 inch thick plate, and it ranges everything from 1/18 on up to 3/4 inch. Different shapes. Back in the back. Pan over to the right, we could take a look at a couple of these. This is just a piece of plate with 2 cutouts. I'll separate these for you guys so we can kind of see the patterns that we have there on these different skeletons. Most of these seem to be very symmetrical the way that they've been cut out. If you take a close look at here, you'll notice that these are all knife blade cutouts. Here's the knife blade and the tang to go in the handle. These are knife blade cutouts as well. So it's kind of unique. That's not something we typically see. In here, these appear to be a portion of a cog, some sort of large gear section. Very symmetrical, nice skeletons there as well. Let's see if we can separate these guys here. Not quite sure what we're looking at here. But those are rather interesting, and these ones with the circles cut out.
Yay, scrap metal!
On this rack here, we have a few of these preformed brackets. There appears to be 2, 4, maybe 6 of those guys, and a few of these dog-legged looking deals. So there's just a number of preformed items on this, or pre-cut, laser and plasma cut units in this pile. Directly behind us here, we see we've got just a massive 1.25 or 1.5 tubing, 1.5 here, all sorts of larger box tubing. We've got 3-inch, we've got 1 by 1.5 by 3, we've got 1.5 by 4, we've got 2 by 6. So there's just a large amount of that. On this one here, we've got a couple of screens with expanded metal and just a couple of oddball bits of pipe. All right, let's head down to this area. This area here, we've got kind of a mixed bag of sheet steel and plate with different cutouts in the rims. Most of that plate appears to be 1/2 inch thick. Some of the lower ones are 3/8. Then as we look deeper, there's quite a bit of stainless steel. Any of this stuff with the white laser film on it is stainless, and if the film's still on it and in good condition, the metal underneath is going to be spotless. On here, in this section here, we have some very large sheets of 1/4 inch, and that feels almost like 5/16 there. 1/4 and 5/16, 1/4 and 3/16, on up to some lighter gauge, and these are all solid pieces. They don't appear to be any skeletons in there, so we've got a large number of these guys up on top. There appears to be maybe 8 or 9 of those, and then a few of the larger ones beneath. We have these old propane heads. Cut off the propane tanks. A little bit of rust on the inside, but we made sure. We had some earlier that got taken back that were full of used oil. We couldn't use those, so we've got a large number of these here. We've got 1, 2, 3 of these larger sized ones, 2 of these smaller ones. And we've got some more around the border of that. If we look at this pile here, I'm not going to be able to just kind of manhandle this stuff, but we've got some larger skeletons of some 3/8 thick plate, some other plate underneath that's got some patina, even some cutouts that are almost completely done, almost like an archway. One here and one here that can be removed very easily. And then beneath, some smaller skeletons with sort of some half-moon cutouts, and then also some with full 3-inch circle cutouts on this plate here. We'll go over here next, this side. We've got a whole number of these taper lock collets, all machine parts, all identical or nearly identical. They appear to be all identical. It looks like we've got about 10, 20 of those, I'd say. Really sizable piece of pipe. I can't even begin to think of what schedule I would call that. It's a large, pretty long piece of pipe. We got some 3/4 or half-inch tubing down here, 3/4 half, some smaller 1.5 inch angle, a little bit of that, and some more 1-inch tube, some 1/2 inch small radius ends here. We've got this part here was it's an assembly that is essentially a working assembly made up of a number of these different gear cutouts and whatnot that we have in this box. So essentially what we're looking at here, 1.5 inch, 1/2 inch tube, these gears and everything, all of that stuff is in this pile somewhere. Almost all of those parts can be found right here. In this pile, well, this looks to be from maybe someplace like Woodstone. They do a lot of stainless. So we've got the stainless steel. Again, we got the laser film on the one side. If the laser film's in good condition, that means the metal under it is pristine. So a lot of lighter gauge stainless steel in here. If I look down here, I see one that's actually folded up into some sort of a lid or something. And this guy here has got this filigree on the side where it was a cutout part. We look over in here, we've got a box of these springs. And these are some door springs. There appears to be, oh my goodness, there's probably 50 of these in here, of these larger springs. And I can almost imagine something maybe suspended from those or standing on those. We've got these trays. In these trays we have all sorts of punches and cutouts, smaller slugs, round slugs, oblong rectangular slugs. Just piles of these little guys here and these really long slugs as well. We have a number of these parts here. Appears to be maybe 15 of those. Some other larger parts. This right here, because of the way it's made, I would say, yeah, it is. These are parts of a hinge or something to that effect. There's a number of those as well. Rectangular parts, so on and so forth. So a lot of light gauge stainless in there. If we look over here, somewhere kind of buried under here, we actually see the female to those gears we looked at a few minutes ago. That's the female cut out of that gear. It's stainless, and there are just so many skeletons here, almost too much to describe. This pile would be good to just get some long, heavier gauge strips of material to add to your sculpture. Directly back here, we have this large piece of, it's about an 1/8 inch plate, and it's got a couple of large cutouts. Stand this up so we can see under here. We've got what appears to be maybe about a 40-inch piece of rolled plate. It's not a pipe. Looks like it had it's a big fish mouth, essentially, cut out of it. We got two of those guys in that fashion, and then some different various degrees of patinaed metal up underneath of that. Larger skeleton up under still further. In this pile here, we've got a number of flat bars ranging from 1/8 inch. Well, these are 1/8 inch as well. They're just folded back on themselves. So we've got a number of these flat bars that are 1.5 inch by, or 3/16 or 1/4 inch flat bars. And there's probably 15 4-foot, 5-foot lengths of those. And then some smaller skeletons inside of this pile as well. Along with maybe another dozen of these guys right here. This next pile over, we've got a couple of bits of 8 or 9 inch pipe. There's a couple lengths of that, approximately 3.5 and one is 4 feet long. We've got a large 3/8 plate here, and it's got some anchor cutouts. So that's kind of an interesting piece. little bit of galvanized material in there. And then another smaller skeleton underneath. And then working back over here, you can see we've got a large amount of some sort of shipyard used chain. Presumably something to be used with an anchor. And you know, I think that's about it. Maybe we want to film some of this over here. Don't know exactly what the availability would be on this stuff, but just to see that we do have some different lengths of I-beam and box tubing. I think the school is probably going to make some of that available as well for the rodeo. So maybe just kind of a span of this area and some of these odds and ends. You know, we've got, these are some odd shapes. We've got these old lifting eyes. These large brackets that are prefab and welded together, ready to go. There's a number of those back in there. Different sizes and shapes for box tubing. And up here we also have some of that hexagonal street light tubing that is tapered at one end. And most of those do have a bit of an arc or a radius to them. And then some more smaller bits of angle iron down here. Kind of large on the scale of, you know, most angle iron, but they're shorter pieces. So a lot of 3" by 3/8 or 1/2" angle iron on that spot there. This aluminum. Oh, that's it. No aluminum though. All right, I'm done. Go.
Good. Tractor, this disc assembly is going to go. This can be cut all up. I'm not sure if this is going to be one pick. Some of these skeletons, not the stainless steel, the thinner ones, are going to be available for the Welding Rodeo. Some of these as well are going to be available for the Welding Rodeo, but you can see there's some big thick ones down here. Those won't be available. But all these thinner ones on the top are going to be available, and none of the stainless steel ones though. Other than that, it's all going to be open.
I've got a couple guys last year that